Good
Good
morning.
morning.
Happy Sabbath. Happy
How you guys
Saturday.
doing?
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome.
And thanks for
Welcome back.
watching and following us. Be
Yes.
empowered with Labadi followers. We really appreciate you guys. We look forward to seeing you every Saturday morning.
Yes.
Um,
Welcome back to the people who have been with us
welcome back.
every week.
Welcome.
Welcome to the people who this is their first time joining. We really welcome the engagement, the feedback. We appreciate the support. So we just want to say thank you, and welcome. Follow, like, share. I know we say that at the end, but we're going to say that at the beginning too. Follow, like, and share if you're not already doing so. A lot of
Yes.
topics hopefully are helping you guys and encouraging you and educating you guys. So share them with other people so it can also help them.
So today we thought about this show. Oh, we gotta do housekeeping rules.
Oh,
What
yeah,
are
yeah.
we thinking? So first of all, I'm Marasha.
I'm Linnell. Sorry about that, y'all.
And then we got to go over housekeeping rules. As you know, we are both associate marriage and family therapists. This show is not for us to do therapy or to tell you what to do with your own personal life. So if you feel the need, do not take any advice from us. Um, this show is fully for entertainment purposes. Please keep in mind that we are not trying to offend anybody with what we may say. It's truly just entertainment, us having fun and being able to open up different dialogues throughout the community about things we don't talk about that are considered taboo. So, hotline crisis number.
Yeah.
As you know, we go
Okay.
through that every single day because we gonna tell y'all we believe in what we do.
We are and we do. Look. So, like Marasha said, the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. If you are anywhere in California, anywhere in the US, you can contact 800-273-8255. If you're having any type of mental health symptoms, if you're struggling with, any issues within your family or community and you just need to talk, this is where you can reach out to. Or you can also text. So, the text line is 741-741. We want to make sure you have access to that. And like Marasha has told us, Kern County, their crisis hotline is 800-991-5272. I think there was also 211. That's for all of California. Definitely, if you need any type of resources or information that we cannot provide or haven't provided, you can contact 211. Also, if you're a part of the LGBTQ plus community, they have a text line that's available now. It is 678-678. And they also have a social media platform that can be utilized if you don't feel comfortable with Facebook or Instagram or whatever else is out there. And that is Trevor Space. So you can go to that as well. Is there anything else, Marasha?
Nope. Nope. So I guess we should just dive into our show.
All right. So this week we're talking about the title is "The Truth Shall Set You Free." So,
Amen.
when we talk about this, I was telling Marasha because we were talking about the show, like what should we talk about? And I was saying, this can be thought about on several different levels. And I say that because, the truth can set you free in your personal life, in your professional life,
Absolutely.
and just your everyday life, and I mean that in regards to just being honest, just being transparent, because I think we walk throughout life every day not being any of these things because we're scared of what other people will think, or we're also scared of offending people. And there's a way to still be unapologetically you and not offend someone and be able to be careful with the words that you say, and I think it comes from just being aware, because if you're not aware of who you are or where you're at in your life, then you're not going to be able to do any of these things.
And when we speak of the truth shall set you free, we talking about how lies and deception can ruin relationships, situationships, friendships, any ship that you might be involved in.
Yes.
Um, it can ruin with deception.
Hmm.
And when I speak of deception, I speak of people coming to your life and not giving you the true them, the authentic them, not being um, honest about all their situations. And then down the line, it's too late. You find out something is like, well, that's not who you said you were. Well,
Right.
it's already ruined. And if you really cared about that person, it's important how you need to use the truth and what you do and how you interact with them.
Definitely. In the beginning.
Oh, in the beginning, coming off
In
the
the
jump.
beginning.
And
Yes,
so,
exactly.
we can talk about this in situationships and relationships.
Right. Because I think a lot of people are scared
They're
once
going to be
again.
judged.
Exactly.
And,
And
and
so
that's why
that's
it's
what
important to
hurts.
know who you are too when you
Yes.
go into a person. You saying, I want them, the person to be, hi,
Good
good morning, Latoya.
morning. Good morning,
Uh,
cousin.
when you're going to a person and you're saying, hey, I want you to be honest with me, but are you a person that person can open up to? That's another question. So when you think
Yes.
about this topic of the truth shall set you free or deception itself, you
Hmm.
got to think about who you are and your role in it as well.
Yes. And that comes with being accepting of others.
Absolutely,
That's
non-judgmental.
coming with being yeah, exactly. Being non-judgmental. That's coming with giving the people that are in those relationships, friendships, situationships, like Marasha said, that's making sure that you are open and transparent. What did Terrell say? What he got to say? You want to read it, Marasha?
Fake ass relationships and putting that false narrative out there, and then the real comes out. You
And that's what you
absolutely
don't want. You have to put it out there in the front and let people accept you for who you are. If they want to accept you for who you are and they see that you're in that transition in your life, that's a real friend and you guys are going to be able to transition together. But when you're hiding things, or even once again, a relationship, because this goes for men and women.
you absolutely right.
We're not here to just talk about men,
We
you know,
talking about
we're
everybody here.
talking about women as well. Yes.
Yes,
And
let's talk about that.
sometimes, go ahead.
A lot of people have skeletons in their closet, right? Because ain't nobody perfect, and nobody should want to be perfect. We can all aim for perfection, but nobody is perfect. So, and she's right. You definitely have to be honest with yourself first. Take off the mask.
Yes.
So sometimes we walk into things and we see a person and we have that expectation of them, right? And so when this person knows that, and they know, they might even see what we bring to the table.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you can be involved with a person in a situationship or relationship, and they can see you, right? And they don't think you got all this stuff to bring to the table. Then they find out and it's like, oh, what did I get myself into? So then they end up trying to meet your expectation,
Right.
and they tell you some stuff that's not actually accurate about themselves, and you find out later. That's called deception, people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a true way to harm a relationship if you really care about somebody.
And I want to highlight what Marasha said, because definitely I think a lot of people say, well, they didn't ask me this, or, it never came up. That is deception as well.
Ooh, that's a
Put
good
everything on the table in the beginning, because once again, if that relationship, situationship, friendship is meant to be, the storm will be able to be weathered. And I think as adults, okay, as children, obviously, we didn't know these things. So, yeah, we were able to make mistakes.
Absolutely.
And that's why we wanted to have this space and have this platform to talk about the things that we probably talk about behind closed doors and we don't get the opportunity to talk about, outright, because these are the conversations that we have when we sitting at home, having parties, or we playing dominoes, or we playing cards, or we just having drinks with the girls, or whatever we're doing. These are the conversations we're having, and we need to have them amongst the community so we can know, like, it's okay to be you, because we grown. And at the end of the day, give me the option to either deal with you or not. And we get so scared and so caught up with what other people think, or, what are they going to expect from me? And you need to not care about that.
Absolutely.
Because who you are, and the people that are meant to be there are going to be there.
And Latoya said, you definitely have to be honest with yourself first. Take off the mask.
Yeah.
I feel that we all get caught up with fake, right? People always say I'm real, I'm real, real, but a lot of us are really caught up with fake. We caught up
Yeah.
with what we see, but we not used to being going to people and say, okay, if this person were to tell me that they had 12 kids and they didn't have no job, would I still talk to them?
Right. What did Terrell say? Some people want you to show them your cards, but then they don't want to put their own cards on the table. And plainly said, some people just can't handle the truth, period. And that's very true. But once again, that's when you need to decipher and judge, is this an individual that I'm going to keep in my life? And if it is, what part do they play in my life? Because if you can't put those cards on the table, or if they can't handle those things, what part are they actually playing in your life? What are they doing for you? Because if you can't be open and honest for them, what are you getting out of the relationship? Because I'm sure they know what they're getting out of the relationship, but what are you getting out of it? And I like to always say, I mean, we've been taught that being selfish is a negative thing, but it's not always a negative thing. And at a certain point in our life, we have to learn to be selfish, because that's the only way we're going to be able to grow within ourselves, because
Absolutely.
that's the time we're going to take for ourselves to be able to educate ourselves, to be able to sit, like you were talking about, Marasha, sit with yourself and think, to be
And
able to
process.
process exactly the things that we've been through and the things that we really learned. And that's when you're going to be able to grow. Latoya said, say that other people's opinions will have you bound up. Ooh, and they definitely will.
And good morning, Alice. We see you. Thank you for
Yes, good
always watching.
morning.
And so I do want to say this. When I think about how deception goes along with, hi Sharon, how you doing? Goes along with mental health issues. It does. It can create a lot of depression. Because can you imagine having a weight on your shoulder where I cannot be honest and straightforward with myself, and every day I'm in this situationship, relationship, or friendship, and they don't know who I am as a person.
Definitely.
That begins to weigh on you, because then you start to really not feel good enough. You start to realize that you are lying every day. And what do you have to do when you lie and you deceive people? You have to keep that lie going. It's no way.
Definitely.
My grandma and my aunts always say this. Once you tell a story, you got to keep the same story. You got to keep up the lie. That's
Yes,
a lot of work.
it
So,
is.
of course, it's going to cause you to have anxiety when you're around certain people if you've already lied to them. Of course, it's going to make you be insecure within yourself when you interacting with that person, because you know them and you can clearly see they putting all their cards on the table and you showing
Right.
them nothing. And then you have nothing. You have to worry then about what are they going to think when they find out, whether it be from a friend, family. Because let me tell y'all something. You can't keep a lie up for long.
You can't. I like to say, I always use the engine analogy, and what Latoya said is right. It's not selfish,
Selfish.
it's
It's
self-care.
self-care.
Yes, I like to use the engine analogy. It's like when you're driving a car. If you always got your foot on the gas and you trying to go 150, you're going to burn that engine out. You know what I'm saying? It's a balance. You have to be able to go down to 40. You know what I'm saying? Start slow and rev that engine up. You can't just always be full blown. And that's the same, like Marasha said, if you're going with a lie, or if you're trying to keep something up, some type of facade of who you think people want you to be. That's tiresome. It's going to burn you out, mentally, physically, because every time you get with this crowd or around these certain people, you're going to put on this mask, like Latoya said, and you're going to have to make sure that you're keeping it up every single time, or this lie or whatever it is. And Terrell said, move on if they want you to do for them what they won't do for you. And that's definitely right. It's supposed to be go ahead.
It's supposed to be a win-win situation for all parties involved.
Definitely.
And let me tell you this, some things that people don't get, and the reason why they do have deceptions, because I think some people haven't realized this about life. And it's something that I always say, some things are meant to fall apart sometimes.
Yes.
And
experience.
Nothing is perfect. Sometimes it's meant to just fall apart. And sometimes when you lie and all those lies have to fall apart, it's a lesson for you to learn that you need to pick up the pieces and you need to be a better person. Exactly. So when stuff is falling apart, don't take it as if, oh, I didn't got caught up, because some people start feeling shame.
Yes.
shameful and feeling like they can't go around the person now. No, that ain't what it is. It's just what you learn from it. It's for you to go tell that person, you know what? I done did a little line. They ain't really who I am. I done messed up. But see,
Mhm.
somebody don't even want to be accountable after they know they done did something.
Right.
But see, we ain't gonna talk
But
about that. But see, I be
no, we
talking
gonna
about
talk about
everything.
that.
We
We
gonna
gonna
talk
talk
about
about that too. But what I wanted to highlight is everything that you just said, because that's why we bring this show.
it.
You know what I'm saying? We want to normalize these things, and we want to let you know that it's okay. It's okay to mess up. It's okay to not be perfect. You know what I'm saying? Because we all go through it. We all mess
Yeah.
up. It's about owning your truth,
Own it.
owning whatever has gone on and learning from it and growing from it and moving on. That's the bottom line of everything. I think that's the message that
We
you
send it
need
to
to
them.
try to, yeah, and you try to take out of any situation. You can overcome anything if it's a true friendship, a true relationship, a true situationship, whatever category you falling in. If it's meant, you will be able to overcome it.
Absolutely. Own it. Just own it. Because
Yeah.
let me tell you, if you can't own it, and then when you get caught in it, boy, baby, let me tell y'all.
Who you gonna be backpedal?
Back, you got the back pedal. No.
You know, and you don't want to be one of them
And
people, because
when you
those
say
are
own your
people.
truth, I think a lot of people do this. Like owning your truth, meaning owning every part of you, the good, the bad, right?
Yeah,
And the stuff that some
definitely.
people don't want to see in you. We all got bad traits sometimes. We
Yes,
all
we
have
do.
bad thoughts sometimes. We
Yes.
all it's just that moral reasoning that comes in. So when I say own your truth, don't try to take somebody else's truth either and then make it yours.
Yes. Don't.
Because a lot of people do that. They'll say, "This is my truth." And it's like, no, really, that's not your truth because I'm watching you and your truth ain't my truth. That is
Right.
your truth look
Exactly.
different than what you think it is.
Exactly. And
That's
it
when you have
should look different because we're
absolutely.
all different. It should. And that's why we talk about making sure that you're accepting people for who they are and being non-judgmental, because once again, nobody's the same. Nobody is the same. What did Alice say? Life is a learning experience. It helps you grow as a person. And
Absolutely.
definitely it does. And that's what we're talking about, those transitions. You have to be okay with being uncomfortable, because when we transition, we're uncomfortable, and we always have to highlight that you're
But
going to
don't keep lying as you
learn.
transition in those. Because the whole
Learn.
purpose of this is to
It
learn from it,
It
to
should be a
lie,
level up.
your
You should be
past.
like uncomfortable, and then because you lied, and then the next time it should be just uncomfortable now because you transitioning probably with not the same people, and it's a different group. So now you got to get to know some people. It shouldn't be the next time you're uncomfortable because you lying. And then again, the next time you're uncomfortable because you lying. And then, the fourth time, you uncomfortable because you lying. And we like, damn. Shit, you lying? You just lying? Look.
What is
Where,
you, a
where you
liar?
learning that? Look.
We
What should I
let me tell
say?
y'all, we woke up with good energy this morning, so we just
Yeah,
need
we did. We
and we
did.
really want to hit. We been asleep right now, but we woke up with some really good energy this morning, and so when we talked about this, it was funny how we realized that a lot of people come into things with the feeling and need to lie, and so we want to hear your perspectives on it. It said, and why would you want to be like
Like
anyone else
anybody
anyway?
else. You're
You know
right.
what, Sharon? That is the question I always ask because I always tell people this when I'm working with people in general, I say, hey, your story is your story. You are meant to be you. You're going to live out your story how you want to. Nobody else, because you lying on repeat, Sharon. Yeah, that's what we're going to call it.
Because
Why
you
you lying
lying.
on
You're
repeat?
right. Look.
Some people will look at other people, and I think it's that feeling of intimidation.
Yeah.
I'm insecure around this person. And instead of owning it and having a sense of vulnerability and saying, hey, I feel insecure. These are my weak points. Can you help me? It's
Right.
easier to portray and to adapt some of that person's personality and their accolades into yours rather than to just sit back and not want to be insecure in that moment and be vulnerable.
Right. And
People
that's
have a hard
because I
time with that
think,
for some reason.
no, we definitely do as adults, and that's because as children, You know, we're taught to be competitive. We're taught that, you know, we're not good enough, especially individuals or people of color. You know what I mean? We're taught that we're less than and that we have to be better at certain things and in certain areas in order to be successful, you know? And sometimes we have to step on people. And that's another reason, once again, that we bring this show to you, because we want to say that that's not true. Everybody's great in their own light. And I think that once we become adults, that stuff that we've learned as children trickles down, because we don't learn anything different. And that's a common thread that continues to flow as we grow.
That's true.
And so it's something difficult for us to shake. And unless you're around people who have already recognized this or want to change this, you know, attribute, then you're not going to know. And so once again, these are things that, you know, we just see. We're not saying that we're definitely right, but these are things that we have seen, I guess, within ourselves, the community, our relationships, you know, our clients that probably have popped up, come up, that are issues that need to be talked about, you know, because we don't have to feel that way and we don't need to be competitive. Be competitive with yourself.
Absolutely.
Level up from the areas that you in the areas that you need to level up in, because I think that's where we often fall short. You know, we need to grow within ourselves instead of trying to compete with somebody else. Like Marasha pointed out, I think even when we first started this show, you know, when she said when she sees women that she thinks is beautiful or whatever, she giving them their props. And so do I. But that's something that we lack, you know, as Black women. A lot of Black women see a woman and they mad and mean mugging them and don't want to, you know, highlight that. And you should be like, sis, you look good. You know what I'm saying? Your hair look bomb. Where you get that hair from? But then you get the women that don't want to tell you where they got their hair from.
That's
Don't
true.
want to tell you who doing, you know, who did their nails.
That's
Don't
true.
want to. Now I'm gonna tell you now. I said that, but I'm gonna tell y'all because I know my nail lady, because you know my nails be bound. But she don't be taking new people. And so when I say that, I will tell somebody, okay, this who it is. Now I'm not saying she gonna take you, but this is who it is. And it ain't because I'm hating, it's just because she be overwhelmed. But you know, I still give that shout out. I still give you the information, and I allow her to tell you whatever she gonna tell you. She either gonna tell you
But you, and I'm gonna just speak strictly to you. And so you hear her saying that. So that's because as a woman, you came into your own and you realize can't nothing make you insecure. So see, I realize this. I like to meet people who, when I'm talking to them, and they say, "Oh, girl," I give you an example. I was talking to somebody the other day. We was talking about, you know, house hunting, and the person said, "Well, right now I got bad credit," and we just kept talking like it was nothing. And she was like, "You're not gonna judge me fair?" I was like, "No." Like, so
Yeah,
I
I'm
mean,
like,
you are the
I'm
truth.
working on my credit right
Yeah,
now.
you
What you
know,
talking
so
about?
I think in those moments, that's a level of security that she had to disclose that, and that's what I'm talking about. That insecurity, a lot of those cause a lot of lies, and they end up with a lot of problems in relationships.
Yes.
As a rule, Sharon said, I find one thing to compliment strangers on. Could be glasses, hair color, or whatever. It don't hurt. That could be our challenge for a week.
Yes. Yeah,
I
because
really
we got
like
away
that,
from
Sharon.
challenges, y'all. Sorry about that. But definitely, I like that, Marasha.
Yeah, that could be a challenge for the week. Um, because we don't have to be insecure around each other.
Right.
I find it powerful when I talk to somebody and they can sit and they can own all their mistakes, because I find wisdom in that. And for me, I take it, and those are the people you can really learn from because they've learned how to grow with it. I never forget I had a conversation. I'm not gonna say who it came from, and this person told me that, ooh, back in the day, I was a hot mess. And I was like, well, what is a hot mess? Well, I was out there doing everything. 90 going north. I ain't gonna say what they said they did, because if they watching, they gonna know what they did. And they gonna know who it is. And we talked about it. I said, well, for you to sit in front of me and to tell me that you should do all this stuff, what caused a change in you? And he said, I looked at myself in the mirror and I said, self, you don't deserve that. You ruining relationships, you ruining people, and people you love are walking away. all because you can't be straightforward and say what it is about you that you dislike, and where do you, and you can't admit to the areas you need to work on and grow in. You will lose a lot of love like that, and a lot of true people who have your best interests at heart when you cannot be honest
Right.
about anything. And so, if you don't want to ruin relationships, I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but my advice is just have a conversation with a loved one and be upfront about what's going on. And
Mhm.
you never know, that person could help you. And I get it. Sometimes we don't want to be vulnerable to certain people because we know certain people, they do their unsolicited advice things. But the lies you tell will hold you back from success and succeeding. And so that was the message for today. I think, to get it out into, for to have different perspectives on it.
Right. Definitely. Yes, because it will stop you from moving forward. Marasha just hit on a couple of things. I want to go back a little bit because you talked about well, first of all, Sharon talked about the rule of complimenting at least one thing. I also do that. I don't care what it is, it could be the simplest thing. It could be your shoes, your socks, I don't know, an
You could
earring,
have some cute
your
toenail
hair,
polish for me. I'll be like, girl,
yeah,
that nail polish is
whatever it
beautiful.
is. I'm gonna compliment you. Oh, if the way you speak, if I can't find nothing, the way about you look, I'm gonna say, oh, you are so articulate. Look. Whatever it is, because I want to make sure that, I'm giving back and giving the things that I never got. And
Absolutely.
so, going back to what Marasha said, I think a lot of the time, if you're not in a place where you already love yourself,
That's
you
that's
know what I
that's
mean?
that's the key here
You
too.
know, and you don't know how to look in the mirror and say, I deserve better, then you're not going to be able to do that. So you definitely need to find that safe space, once again, whether it be a therapist, whether it be a friend, because we talked about this. We know a lot of the time family may not be that safe space. So whether it be a friend or a colleague or, once again, a therapist, or whoever your mental health provider
It
is,
could be your mirror, you to you.
whoever it is, it could be a grocery store clerk, because sometimes we feel more close to them than we do to anybody else. Your hairdresser, I don't know. We don't want to trust them all the time, because sometimes they be gossiping and everybody in the shop gonna hear. But I'm just saying, whoever you feel comfortable with, that's who you need to make sure you get it off your chest with. Because when you're bottling things up, when you're keeping it in, when you're letting it continue to eat you up inside, then that can be detrimental to your mental health, detrimental to your emotional stability. And we don't want you to be in that type of place. We want you to be healthy and happy. But definitely get to a place where you can look yourself in the mirror and say, I deserve better. I want better. I love myself. I'm not going to
Good
take this
morning
no
today.
more.
How
Good
are you?
morning. I'm not going to take less than, and I'm going to give people what I want to get back. I think that's
Absolutely.
another message, and I think that's why we're at the places that we're in our life. Where, let me speak for myself, Mariah speak for herself, but that's why I'm at the stage that I'm at in my life. I don't want somebody in my life that cannot be transparent with me, because I'm going to be transparent with you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely not going to do it to hurt anyone, because I never do anything maliciously, but I want people to know where I'm coming from, because I've been deceived so much, and because I have been the deceiver as well.
Mm-hmm.
I have been on the other side, and I don't want those type of relationships, but I'm at a place where I can be honest with myself, and I can say, I've been on the other end. I've lied, you know, I haven't cheated, but I've lied. But I can say that because I've grown as well, and everyone makes mistakes. I've been a child. I've been a woman scorned. I've been, a woman that was growing, and nobody's perfect, but I am at a place now where I don't want to deal with things like that. So for me, transparency is very important for me.
And for me too, it is. And something that Terrell said, I was looking at this comment. I had to go back. He said, people want you to show them your cards, but then they don't put their own cards on the table. That was a comment he made earlier, and we had read it. And I was thinking about when you putting your cards on the table, sometimes it's okay to hold a couple of them to that person. It's like a card game. It's okay to hold a couple cards in your hand. I'm not saying go into everything and just put everything on the table like that. But as you get to know a person, at some level of comfortability, you should be able to start to be able to put one card down slowly here or there. So that way y'all building something.
Definitely.
And you need to see what the other person has in their hand. But if you get that slight sense of air that that person is not trying to show you anything in their hand, and you start to see some red flags, hey, it's okay to leave the situation.
Definitely.
That's self-care.
Yes. And learn how to, good conversation, ladies. The truth truly will set you free, speaking from experience. Yes. And a lot of individuals want to have these conversations, you'll find. They just don't know how to start them, excuse me, or how to communicate. And this is the time to learn to do that. It's okay. And once again, it's going to be uncomfortable, but normalize having these uncomfortable conversations.
And let me tell you how you can start it off. This is one of my questions I said from now on. And friend, this is just some stuff. I'm going to give y'all some quick pointers on what to do in relationships, situationships, anything that you wanted to. You need to know your non-negotiables. Let me tell you, these ain't the tangible things that you want out of friendships and stuff. Do you want a person who's going to be with you, who's going to be dishonest? You got to know your non-negotiables. Once you understand your own non-negotiable things you will not tolerate, you'll know what questions to ask. Some questions that I think that can facilitate this conversation to make it, to break down a barrier so you guys can communicate about everything is, a good question to ask is, what makes you the most insecure? See, people don't want to talk about that. That is a good question to start asking, because once you know a person's insecurities, you can almost pinpoint why they are deceiving you.
Right.
So
not only that, ask a person what they're looking for. I know that sounds simple. And some people will be like, that's dumb. You ain't gonna. No. Ask them what they are looking for, and they will tell you what they're looking for.
And also their non-negotiables. You need to know their non-negotiables.
Yep. You definitely do.
Relationships, whether it be family members, whether it be like I said, situationship, girlfriend, however, whatever floats your boat. You need to know their non-negotiables. You need to know your non-negotiables. You need to ask about their insecurities, and you also need to ask what they are looking for, because then you need, those are expectations and boundaries. Okay. So that way it's creating a transparency between you both. If you realize you asking a person these questions, if they can't tell you, that person don't really know who they are. You need to run.
Yes. But also, what people will tell you anything, but
that's Tashana.
Okay, Tashana. Okay, T.I. Look like she said people will tell you anything, but actions speak louder than words.
This show, girl, look, you jump on here this morning.
Okay,
so she always in the background watching.
Yes, so, and she's right. Actions speak. And look, she said it is right. So yes, definitely, actions speak louder than words, just like Tashana just said. You know,
we start watching, because a lot of people, they lie so much they can talk a good game.
Yes, but you definitely can see in their actions. If you're watching every move that you're making, and they're telling you, "Oh, I'm gonna be there for you in this, and I'm gonna do this," and they're not. And every time a situation comes up, all there is negativity. All there is them trying to pull you away instead of helping you fix it. You might want to reevaluate the position that, you know, they're in your life. Because once again, friends play different positions in your life. You can have a friend that's there that doesn't have that much influence, that's not that influential.
That's true.
But they're still there because they play a certain role. Once again, like Terrell brought up, it's a win-win. So they're doing something for you and you're doing something for them. But it's, you know, it may not be a lot, but it's something. You need to learn what position they're playing.
That's true.
They can't be the closest position to you because once again, they're not benefiting you in that way. It's not a positive benefit. And we all know that it's a healthy boundary. You can have positives and negatives that are healthy, because there are some negative things that can be healthy as well, because they help you grow.
That's true.
Just like we're talking about these experiences, everything can push you in a certain way. What you got to say, Marasha? You thinking over there?
So lately, they know I go silent when I'm really processing something. I do agree with that. In the negatives, you do find growth, but sometimes it comes with pain, and a lot of people don't want to own up to pain either.
Yeah.
It's easier to put on a happy game face than to sit down and have to talk about it and to let it all hang out. I think in negative situations,
hey, good morning, friend.
You find out a lot of stuff about you. Good morning. How are you? That's a cookie girl. She got good.
Yeah, it is. They buying them thumbprints. Anisha's cookies. Sorry, go ahead.
You find out a lot of stuff about you when you confront negativity. And so sometimes people always say this conflict should not happen. Conflict is good.
It should happen.
It should
have how you grow.
And that's how you grow, but it's the way that in which that we do it, especially when deception is involved. I know some people get mad when a person deceives them. They're like, I'm just cutting that person off. You don't have to always cut that person off. Sometimes that person is meant to be there so you can see it, what's in them and other people, and why you attracted to that certain situation, or why you attracted to a person like that. And when I say attracted, I don't mean like in a relationship like man, woman,
like a sexual way.
Like a sexual way. I mean like in all relationships, because all relationships, as you said, we get something out of them. So even in friendships, why are you friends with that person? Can tell you a lot about yourself. And so the conversation Lynell and I had earlier, she was like, you kind of quiet lately. Everybody's like, you kind of quiet. I was like, yeah, I'm quiet. But in growing phases, I noticed that it's easier for me to shut down because I'm processing. My mind is working like, okay, what's my role in everything? What's going on with this or what's going on with that? A lot of people don't want to do that. That takes a sense of vulnerability. For me to even be able to come to Lynell, to Shauna, or anybody and talk about what's going on, it's this level of vulnerability. And that's because these people have created safe spaces around me where I don't have to lie about who I am. So see, that's another topic too. When you talk about deception and you talk about standing in your truth and owning yourself, it's talking about those people who are around you, who have allowed you to create a safe space where you can truly be you without being judged.
But once again, that's knowing who you are and owning you. Because once you have those individuals around you, I know, once again, just speaking from personal experience, speaking from, just everything that I've experienced, whether it be professionally or personally, sometimes we're more comfortable with saying, like, I've been knowing this, she's been down for me and we've been riding together for 15 years. I've been knowing her since elementary. That doesn't mean that she's your friend. That doesn't mean that she has provided a safe space for you to be able to open up. So Absolutely. Sometimes we have to be okay with letting some people go, or once again, positioning that person in your life in a place where this person is an associate and not a friend, and knowing what that means and what that looks like for you. What did Tashana say? It's most definitely not easy stepping into our own truth. And it's not. It's not, because once again, like Marasha pointed out, we have to be vulnerable. And when we're vulnerable, that's that time when we're going to cry, when we're going to give you, all of us, and a lot of us have never had a safe space to be vulnerable. So that's uncomfortable, and it hurts.
But some of us are taught not to even be vulnerable with ourselves.
Because it's not women or as people of color, we're not supposed to be vulnerable, because we're supposed to be stronger than everyone else, because we've been through more than everyone else. And so, like Kanisha said, she's learned the past few years, and we know it's not easy. It's not easy at all, but it's something that you have to eventually learn to do, but you have to want to do it. And it's okay if right now you don't want to do it. Because like I've always shared with Marasha, it took me 40 years to get to the place that I'm at. And I'm okay with saying that. And a lot of people, they'll be like, no, I've been like this. I've been knew this. I've been doing this. No, you haven't. It takes a long time and a lot of work. And I'm not even trying to put anybody down. But the reason I say that is I got to this place because I'm in therapy. I got to this place because I'm a therapist, not because I was just walking the world and I done been through some things and I was like, oh, I'm fixed. No, I've been through a lot and I was messed up. I was dealing
and like me, let's just talk about this because we can talk from a personal perspective because all of us have had this conversation. We be in denial about stuff, and that's talking about not being true to yourself. So when you lying to yourself, then that's you deceiving yourself into believing you somebody you ain't.
Yes.
And that is very harmful.
Definitely.
If you can't be vulnerable with you and say this is who I am and just own it, then how you gonna walk out to the world and even have a healthy relationship?
Yes.
If you can't own who you are to yourself.
And that's why today, in today's day and age, we talking about being unapologetically you.
Absolutely.
You know, we started off saying being unapologetically Black, and that's cool. And I was saying that, but now I say being unapologetically me. What does that mean? And that means owning my truth, being true to who I am as a person, no matter with who it is. Absolutely. Whether it's at work, whether it's in my personal life, I'm walking down the street, I'm going to be me. And so that's why I say that a lot of the time. It's not to be, disrespectful to anyone. It's not to be spiteful to anyone. I try to be this way no matter who I am. And that's why when I'm even talking about the work that I'm doing, when we talk about our relationship with one another, the way that I am right now today and how we get on here, this is the way that we are behind closed doors. This is the way that I am when I go to work. This is the way that I am with my friends and my family. Yeah. Because if I waver from this, then I would not be unapologetically Linnell. And that's why I have the friends that I have, or I am the friend that I am, because I want people to be that friend to me.
Absolutely. And I must say this amongst all of us, what I've seen the most here, even after the shows, before the shows, is that we don't come to each other like some friendships come with lies. We don't come to each other in here. We unapologetically, we truly are us. We don't come here and say, hey, Linnell, this happened today, and sugarcoat. Now I'm gonna let it all. I'm dumping all of it on you, and I ain't trying to tell you to help me clean it up because I know how to fix it. But I'm being honest about what's going on with me. It ain't got nothing to do with you. Now, if I offended you, I apologize. But it has nothing to do with you. And it's owning truth. So I think the message too in this show was also owning truth, being vulnerable with yourself enough to know yourself so you can build healthier relationships. Because a lot of us,
we don't have no healthy relationships.
We don't. And then we look in the mirror and it's like, you don't even know who you is. Let me tell y'all something. This power of being alone.
It sure is.
Because you learn everything.
My Siri came on. I said it sure is, and Siri done came on, y'all. I gotta get on Siri because I ain't even said her name.
Let me tell you about Tashana. One thing we can say about Tashana is that she says y'all better preach. Yeah, we're gonna preach today, Tashana, because we're gonna talk about a lesson that you didn't talk. A very good one. She always say it's okay to be alone. Mm-hmm. You learn with being alone, you learn your own truths, you learn your weaknesses, you learn everything. So then you know what you will and what you won't accept.
Yes.
Be alone for a minute sometimes. Sit in your own silence, sit in your own. My Amy on the show, I ain't gonna say shit, but Amy, I'm sorry.
You just said it.
Sit in it by yourself.
Yes. But what I will say about that, because just from my personal experience, that can be very uncomfortable. It can be unsafe.
It can.
For certain individuals, especially when you have a lot of trauma. So I know I got serious right then, but because I just remembered my experience. And when I first, like I said, I'm 42 and I didn't really stand in my own truth until 40. And it's because I started to work on me. And I went to this class that helped me to be able to be comfortable with myself and kind of go in and to be able to process and to be able to meditate. And I say that because it was very uncomfortable for me. I had a lot of trauma, just once again, speaking for me. So if you can recognize that you do have a lot of trauma and you are at this point where you want to work on yourself and you want to grow, I would definitely recommend that you reach out for some type of help while you're going through that phase and that transition, because it is definitely very hard. It's stressful. It's scary. And you're going to have to look yourself in the face and really deal with you and deal with the grief of whether you've lost family members. And I'm not talking about death. I'm talking about losing relationships, losing parts of yourself, maybe whether it was your
a divorce, whether it's somebody.
I want to look. I'm looking for innocence. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah, I'm looking for innocence. That was the word I was looking for, because like the things that Marasha just pointed out, whether it was a relationship that you lost, children, whatever the case may be, transitions, it's definitely difficult to deal with those things. So you want somebody to help you with those transitions. So when we talk about being able to sit with yourself, being able to process, that can be difficult if you don't know what it looks like and it's bringing up a lot of past trauma.
That's true.
So definitely look for somebody to help you transition through these phases, because it's difficult. Sorry about that, but it had me think of that, because you're gonna need some type of help, because it's scary, it's uncomfortable, and in the beginning, it's not gonna be easy.
And I like the way you said that, Linnell, because you just gave us people a personal experience that they can actually say, okay, Linnell went through this and she said it was hard, because it's not easy. So thank you for sharing that with us. I really appreciate that. But she is right. Some people will need somebody else and some may not. I think everybody's just different. We know that some people might actually need a therapist to go talk to. And let me just tell y'all, if you ever decide to, if you have to utilize a therapist, I always remember the first couple sessions are the roughest. Because you really finding out they're asking those difficult questions that's to trigger you to think. And that's the whole point of us here to come is to give you some of those questions without doing the therapy portion of it.
Right. And we want you to see what it looks like and what down-to-earth therapists look like, because they are out there, not just women of color.
Yeah, that's true.
There are Caucasian therapists as well that are great, that are relatable. But once again, you have to do your research. But we're just giving you insight into what it can really look like, and that things are changing. What did Tashana say? Yes, most definitely support is needed. When I say be alone, I'm saying not jumping into different relationships.
Ooh, Tashana, that's another topic. And may I ask you, Tashana, when we do that topic, can you please come back for that day with us? We're going to hold that topic because it's 10 minutes left. That's like a 2-hour show. And
definitely,
because we would like to really talk about that and hone in on that. And she said, when she said be alone, yes, because sometimes some people, they feed our energy, right? And she put laughing out loud. I'm serious though, Tashana. I'm not laughing. Sometimes when they feed your energy, and so they keep helping you feed into your life. So now you hopping from person to person with all these lives. That's dangerous, very dangerous. So the danger in not loving yourself can cause a lot of brokenness within you, a lot of broken relationships, and not owning your truth.
Yes, and that goes along with people telling you need to get with somebody else to get over it. Now, sometimes that is true. They're not saying jump in a relationship. What they're saying is go out, go have fun. And that may not even mean dating. Mingle, build a new support system, meet new people, meet like-minded people that maybe have experienced the same thing as you, so you can process and bounce things off of them. That's why there are multiple support groups out there. Just like when you have children, there are mommy groups. There are groups for divorcees. There are groups for individuals that are thinking about getting a divorce.
Or single dad groups.
For single dad, yes. There are groups for just single people. There are groups for people whose parents are deceased that are grieving, you know, and they can go down to being a very specific group.
Absolutely.
But figure out what you need and don't be embarrassed. I think that's, you know, I know we have talked about this, but it goes back to that. Don't be embarrassed. We're normalizing these things.
Absolutely.
You know, learn to communicate, reach out to whoever you need to reach out to. Call 211, go to the Department of Mental Health, do whatever you got to do, but do your research so you can be healthy. Mm-hmm. That's our bottom line. We know we have 10 minutes left or about 9 minutes left. So we're going to start wrapping it up.
And I was processing at the end of that because I really want to say this to everybody out there. You should never be embarrassed to be who you are.
Yes.
And if you're around people who you feel like who are judging you, then you need to go home today and reevaluate all those relationships.
Yes.
And leave them alone, because people should be around you to love you for you.
Or first, before you do that, I mean, reevaluate, but try to have the conversations.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
Conversations cannot be had. Then figure out what you want to do moving forward. There's an intervention that I used with the TAY population that is easy to remember called SOTAS. And it's the situation, the options. It's what's the disadvantages to it, then the advantages to it, and then what was your solution? What was your outcome at the end?
So she gave y'all, so that's 2 challenges this week. You gave them 2. The first one was to walk out, and if you go somewhere today, it could be your kids, anybody in your household, give them a compliment.
Definitely.
To do the SOTA.
SOTA, which is situation. What options do you have to deal with that situation? The disadvantages that can go along with that situation, the advantages that can go along with that situation, and then what solution did you come up with? So if you do all of that, you'll figure out what the outcome can be. Because the options were to have a conversation with them, you know, or to cut them off, or to continue being in a relationship or situationship with them, you're going to be able to figure out the disadvantages, advantages of all 3 of those different things, and then a solution, and then act on it to figure out what's best for you. And sorry, I went into therapist mode. Sorry about that, y'all.
But even with this, and I'm going to say this too, you need to learn you. So I want you to get a piece of paper too, if you have time, and look at your non-negotiables for yourself.
Yes.
And while you're writing them down, don't write non-negotiables that you have for another person that you wouldn't live by yourself. Because we got to practice what we preach here, ladies and gentlemen. So I would like for you to do that when you're doing your non-negotiables.
And like when Marasha talked about in the beginning as well, write down what you want in a person and what you want out of a relationship, whether it be a situationship, a personal relationship, family relationship, whatever the ship is, figure out what you want. So if somebody comes to you and asks you what we told you to ask today, because they might have been watching this show, you're going to be able to answer that question, because we don't want you to stutter either. While you out there trying to ask the question, we want you to be able to answer the question too.
Absolutely. Because if you ask me something just naturally, I'm going to say, well, you asked me that, this is my answer. So how can you answer that question too?
Exactly.
Answer.
Yes.
So, yes.
So we want to thank you guys definitely this week. Special shout out to our girl. We want to thank you for chiming in today.
Thank you to
We know you're always there, but definitely thank you for chiming in today and supporting us. We definitely miss you. We miss your input. We miss your energy, just everything. We miss it because we know, like we said in the beginning, we all different, but we complement each other. So it's definitely great to see you and feel you today. Thank you for everybody that was chiming in. Do we have any shout outs today?
Not really any shout outs, but I want to thank everybody who frequently watch this show, and I want to give them a shout out. Thank you, Aunt Alice. Thank you, Cousin Shay. Thank you, I don't know how to Kanisha cookies. We love your cookies, but she make a bomb shortcake cookie. Thank you, Terrell. Thank you, Latoya, Sharon.
Mm.
Thank you guys for being supporters in this. You know, sometimes we come to you, we laughing and stuff, but we really do love what we do and we have fun here. We come here and I feel like it's even an outlet for us sometimes to vent and things like
Definitely.
that. So we really appreciate you guys. Tashana, we wait for you to come back because you jumped in on that show today, girl. So we wait for you when we had that relationship topic for you to be there because we know your insight, you'll get the discernment is so for real sometimes.
Yes.
Thank you guys for uplifting us. We want you to go out into the world and be great and to uplift other people. And thank you for being followers of Being Powered with Lamani.
Yes, and continue to like, follow, share. We see you guys chiming in. We know y'all watching the videos. So like, follow, and share. Like us on YouTube. Go over there and follow us on YouTube as well. You don't have to just watch us on Facebook every week. You can follow us on YouTube as well. I know that we said that we were going to start engaging with you guys more. We are going to try to do better. Sorry, you know how life is. The pandemic is. The world has opened back up and we had to hit the ground running.
We sure did.
Our personal lives. So once again, we are still trying to make sure we engage with you guys and we bring you something every week. But make sure y'all give us some too. We just talked about being transparent and having a win-win relationship. And can y'all give us something to win on? Can y'all share, support us, like, follow, share?
And give us something to talk about. Look, I got a good topic coming up, and it came from a friend. He came over for wine, and so we got a good topic coming up next week for y'all. But we want to hear more topics from y'all. We want y'all to say, "Hey, I want y'all to talk about this," because ain't nobody talking about that.
Right.
Let us know because we want you to come on the show and talk about it too. Ask questions. We want to answer questions sometimes as well.
And then I think somebody said they wanted, like, if they have personal questions or something, a space to, we're going to try to set something up. I don't know, we know to this, but we true to this too. I always tell you, I don't tell us. So we're going to set something up maybe so we can figure something out so you guys can like ask questions, or if you guys want a little more clarification on topics that we do, you can talk to us about it or something. So we'll figure something out because I know you guys have been asking about that as well. So we'll figure it out. But thank you for coming,
thank you,
joining us. We want to see you guys next week.
Enjoy your Saturday.
What's next week? July 17th at 10 a.m. We want to see you then. We love you guys, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.